Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing back with another edition of South Texas News and Reviews. This is Sunday, March the 22nd, 2015. And I think I've got enough seconds here coming up on the banner plus announcing this that I can go ahead and start with the show. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is something that was emailed to me just the other day, and it says, let's see, let me readjust this a little bit. I know that drives my video person wild, but this thing says how you spell nepotism. Okay, now this is a reference to the Coastal Bend College goings on up there, where the president hired her sister as a dean of workforce, and then I guess the dean hired her daughter, who would be the niece of the president, and then I think the brother's involved up there with construction and so forth, and there are a couple of other nieces and so forth around that are involved on the payroll at Coastal Bend College. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. It's been a real pain in the neck. So I'm going to dedicate the first part of the show to the nepotism up there at Coastal Bend College. Just wanted to let you know what's circulating around. This was emailed to me, as I said, and the people are getting pretty tired of that up there. I hope the taxpayers will react. And then we've got some more shenanigans going on. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to go take my seat, ladies and gentlemen, as usual. Like I say, I'm a one-man show on this, and I just do the best I can with what I've got. Now, I showed you that cartoon for all practical purposes from Coastal Bend College that's circulating around due to the fact that we have nepotism running rampant up there. And I'd like to go ahead and address that in just a second. I'd like to have you know that this show airs at 9 o'clock on Mondays, 9 o'clock on Tuesdays on Channel 10, Public Access 10 here in Corpus Christi, Texas. It's also available on YouTube any time of the day. So if this is a Sunday, I'll probably deliver this to the person who converts this and puts it on DVD for me so I can take it down to the city and have it on Public Access 10 here on cable. Grande and Time Warner. And then we've got another show, the Ed for Delmar Regent. That one airs at 5 o'clock on it's an hour. It airs on Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. and Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. for an hour each. Mr. Bennett is the CPA accountant who's been keeping a track of a lot of things that go on at Delmar College as far as some of the accounting irregularities that have been uncovered and not explained yet. And I'll discuss a little bit of that in a while. And then we have what's going on in Corpus Christi. I filmed that show. It's actually for the Taxpayers Association, Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association predominantly, of which I am the president. And that goes on Monday night at 8:30 to 9 o'clock, just before this show, South Texas News and Reviews. And then it airs again Friday from 9 to 9:30 p.m. So if you're interested in your tax money and so forth around here, then please go ahead and join us on that show. That's what's going on in Corpus Christi. Now, I'll get back to my friends up there at Coastal Bend College and in Beeville in general. My involvement started over a year ago when a very good friend of mine, very knowledgeable, very highly educated, very dedicated woman, Dr. Eloisa Garcia, was unceremoniously fired from Coastal Bend College because of the fact that supposedly she was double dipping funds. Now, with a PhD in nursing, those people are hard to come by. She was hired by Coastal Bend College as the director of nursing up there. They have actually 4 campuses of nurses and LVNs and RN programs, and that's Beeville, Pleasanton, you got Alice, and Kingsville. So she was on the road a good bit. Now, in order to enhance her credentials, therefore boosting the program at Coastal Bend College, she also is a family nurse practitioner. Okay. Now, in order to maintain that certificate, the law says that thou shalt spend 2 days a month in clinics practicing your trade, which is the nursing at the PhD and the family practice family practice family nurse practitioner. I'll spit it out, okay, FNP. And that's quite a feather in Coastal Bend's program's cap to have the director of nursing with those credentials. Now, she had obtained permission to do that in the very beginning when they hired her. Then she got crossways with the sister of the president, who's the dean of workforce, and the dean of workforce used the leverage with her sister to have Dr. Garcia fired under the pretense that she was double dipping because the clinic was paying her a salary as well as Coastal Bend. Now, what I can't see them justifying is all the time that she spent over their, quote, 40 hours a week. See, they like to pull that crap up there with a 40-hour-a-week work week. And I know she spent a whole heck of a lot more time doing that, and I don't think they paid her any overtime for that because she had a contract with a certain salary. It wasn't based on an hourly wage. So I think the whole thing was bogus and unfair. And then I have talked to an awful lot of people up there that have been terminated from Coastal Bend College because they didn't get along with either the president or her sister, the dean of workforce, or somebody that's in that little clique up there. And yeah, I've heard of some real tragedies going on. Now, what that does, folks, is that diminishes the reputation of Coastal Bend College, and all you students up there, if you're watching, folks, that will diminish your standing in life with a degree from Coastal Bend College. And I'm trying to convince the same thing that's happening here at Del Mar College, but nobody down here listens any more than Coastal Bend College does. Now, when I say Coastal Bend College is not listening, they are on a board of trustees system up there, and there are 7 of those, 3 of which have enough sense to get in out of the rain, and I can't say the same for the rest of them. So it's always a vote in favor of anything that this president, Beatrice Espinosa, Dr. Espinosa, wants to do up there. And she, you know, you'd think she was the empress of the whole system up there, and I guess as long as you taxpayers there in Beeville and in the Coastal Bend College District paying for that, and I'll have to see if that includes Pleasanton area and whether people pay taxes out of Alice and Kingsville for that privilege, then you know, you've been doing a great disservice to your taxpayers up there. And you know which 4 Board of Trustees members I'm talking about. So I'm going to take a little bit of time and discuss Coastal Bend College and what goes on. Now, since Dr. Garcia attorneyed up, as they say, and there's a suit pending against Coastal Bend College on her behalf, then under discovery, I think her attorney had asked for anybody else that was currently had a job outside of Coastal Bend College, and they're getting paid for it. So on the 19th, today's the 22nd, this came out, and it was from it was from Denise Hardwin, who is I think she's the Human Resources Director at Coastal Bend College, and they give the address, the 3800 Charcoal Road, Beeville, Texas. And this is to all of the department chairs, it looks like, and it says, Daria Heil, Dr. Espinosa's executive assistant, needs a list of your employees that held or currently hold non-CBC jobs from January 1st, 2009 to present. Please respond immediately with the names or that your staff members do not have jobs outside of Coastal Bend College. Please notify Daria immediately, today. Now this came out at 4:01 on March the 19th, which probably was a Friday, okay? And then all of a sudden, all hell's broken loose. Let's see, today's the 22nd, Saturday was the 21st, Friday would have been okay, this came out on a Thursday, okay? On March the 19th at 4:01 p.m. and they want it immediately, okay? You may copy me on an email response also. This is very important, triple exclamation points. And they use triple exclamation points. I'll read this again. Please notify Daria immediately, triple exclamation. Today, quadruple exclamation point. You may copy me on email response also. This is very important, triple exclamation point. So I guess there's panic. Now I know for a fact that there is a person who is in the law business up there, let me see if I can phrase this properly. In the law enforcement business there in Beeville and with the county of B County and so forth. And that person does hold a full-time position, I understand, as a faculty member at Coastal Bend College. I have also been told, and I'm going to get this under sworn deposition and affidavits, that the man, when he had his classes going during the daytime at Coastal Bend College, would have a secretary or someone put on his door to dismiss the class that he was scheduled to teach because he had to go take care of his police duties or his law enforcement duties. Okay? Now I understand that there's some other people that were paid and they worked during the time that they should have been at Coastal Bend College. So this is all coming to light, taxpayers. Now how can you justify firing Dr. Eloisa Garcia for 2 days a month when it was told to the administration and probably the board of trustees up there that she had to do that to maintain her certificate, which was a boon and a plus for Coastal Bend College and all of those nursing, both RN and LVN, and I think they have the nursing care providers and so forth. I don't know the name of that exact designation, but the nursing assistants. And I mean, that's what gives these schools credibility and gives the students credibility. The medical professions folks hire people based on the strength and so forth of the programs that they come out of, and Coastal Bend College and Del Mar College hadn't figured that out yet. Okay? And I'll talk about another PhD nurse that was unceremoniously terminated here at Del Mar College because 3 students didn't like her. And apparently the chair of the department didn't like her, and the director of nursing, or whatever they call it here at Del Mar College, through the nursing department didn't like her. So they just went ahead and ousted her based on the whining of 3 students. I mean, it's ludicrous, folks. And then, you know, if you look at the reputation of Del Mar College's nursing program these days, it stinks. And I'm being kind. It absolutely stinks, folks. So for all you Del Mar College taxpayers down here, and I pay taxes to the state, which supports both Del Mar College and Coastal Bend College, and I do pay federal taxes, and they all get federal money one way or another, then it just burns me up. And I'm not going to be shy. I'm going to say something about it. So there you go, folks. So now we got them shook, but they want this immediately, today. It's very important, okay? Now, I don't know how many people are going to twist the truth up there, but I'm sure that there are people, just like we have at Del Mar College, who have a full-time salary at Del Mar College, and then they also have part-time or full-time jobs elsewhere. I mean, you know, good grief, folks. Let's see what happens. And then I'm going to go to a meeting soon. It's the next Board of Trustees meeting. Today's Sunday. This will be Tuesday night. I don't have classes after 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, so I'm going to beat it on up to Beeville and go up and film another of their Board of Trustees meetings. And I'm just red hot enough to keep saying stuff about that, okay? Because it bothers me a great deal that taxpayers and good people up there and faculty members and so forth are involved in this tripe. Now, another reason I'm concerned, not only as a taxpayer and the president of Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, then I am a professor. I belong to a group known as the American Association of University Professors. And it says that you need to enjoy your academic freedom and you need to be treated in a manner other than just another, grunt working over there at Del Mar College or Coastal Bend College. And Coastal Bend College has dropped their tenure professor, so they're at the mercy year by year of the administration, who does not like educators whatsoever. Apparently, I've learned that much at Coastal Bend College. I don't think Dr. Espinosa has any regard for any faculty member unless they're part of the chosen few, and we have that problem at Del Mar College also. And it's a horrible situation, folks. So I just wanted to let you know that that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this. Now, there's a group up there that have put up some banners that are, I think there were 3 or 4 that were small in yards up there, stating that they didn't approve of the nepotism going on at Coastal Bend College. And believe it or not, what happened was 2 of those have disappeared, the small yard versions. They were just stolen. Now I wonder who would steal those when they're talking about administrative nepotism at Coastal Bend College. And then there was a new one that said that the trustees and all do condone nepotism, and so do the people at Coastal Bend College, the administration, and their attorneys and so forth and so on. And the amount that was paid for that one, I just happened to be sitting here with the receipt, was a $303 banner. Now that one went up last week on, I think it was, I ran the thing up there. I picked it up from the printer and ran it up there, I think, on a Thursday, or it may have been earlier in the week than that. It went up, I believe, on, no, it was a Saturday. And then it disappeared the next Sunday morning. Okay, so who stole that? Who was in a red pickup truck? 2 young females that went over there and put up a different banner in the place of where this one was, right in front of the tractor sales, whatever that is, the big business up there, tractor something or another, across the street from Walmart, essentially. Okay, and across the street from Chili's. So I'm not advertising for those. Okay, now that $303 sign was stolen, and then the remaining one in the yard, young lady in a silver Cobalt, Chevy Cobalt, was taking it down when some neighbors saw her and asked her what was going on, and she said she had permission to take that sign down. Now she did not have permission from the sign owner and the resident of that private residence that owned that had them in the front, folks. Okay, so if you know of anybody, if you've seen somebody with a little silver Cobalt going around snatching signs and telling people that you know, she had the permission to do that, who gave her permission? You know, I smell a rat somewhere, folks. And if you're devious enough to do things like that, then you know, who would put you up to stealing signs like that? And that is, it's total theft is what that's going on. Okay, so we've got some witnesses and so forth. We're trying to figure out who done it, and when we do, maybe somebody will wind up in the slammer for a couple of days, and we'll see if that goes back to possibly, and I'm not accusing anybody, I'm just speculating, we can go straight back to the administration and the board of the Board of Trustees at Coastal Bend College, because this $303.10 banner mentioned something about the Coastal Bend Board of Trustees condoning the nepotism, and people being fired, and people being terminated, and people being mistreated in general. So that's what you got up there, taxpayers, so you need to do something about it. Now, I've tried to get nepotism charges looked at through both the district attorney, Mr. Aliseda, up there. He opted out and said it wasn't under his purview, and he has the prosecutorial discretion not to do that because he didn't think it was nepotism at the level of a breaking the law. And then we've got Mr. Michael J. Wright, who's the B County attorney, and he wrote me a letter after I said nepotism complaint and I wanted it investigated, and he essentially blew me off. Okay? And he says the CBC Board of Trustees exercise their business discretion absent violation of state law and is not subject to review by this office, and no opinion is otherwise rendered. If you have any other questions. So he essentially blew me out of the water and said no, he wasn't going to do this, and he cited some Attorney General rulings which are just not true. And we've got, you know, I'm going up to Austin and I'm going to have a sit-down talk with those people and find out if any of this stuff that he sent me back is true or not. Now, one of the reasons I don't trust the man is back, I'm going to read this. This is an Attorney General of Texas, Greg Abbott opinion. Okay? Now, what Mr. Knight did was that's a cat. Okay? What Mr. Knight did was he had a request, received a request for all criminal cases from 2009 to the date of the request in which county attorney was prosecutor and a case was entered, rejected, uncharged, or dismissed, and documents in which the defendants in the requested criminal cases made a donation or donations to Coastal Bend College or any of the college's affiliated organizations. Okay? Now, what we've got in that context is the Attorney General said that, hey buddy, you know, don't you know the law? You had to do this within a certain time frame. Therefore, all that stuff that was requested is going to be due to the people that requested it because you didn't have enough sense, essentially, to ask for this opinion in a timely manner. So it's pretty damaging. So I don't know about Mr. Knight, and then I've heard through the grapevine, this is speculation. I'll try to prove or disprove this. I'm not accusing the man, although he is an elected official. But anyway, you know, I think there's some real close ties with the Coastal Bend hierarchy over there, and especially the Board of Trustees members. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. You know, it's just incredible to me that this stuff keeps going on and on and on. And then we have one here from a person who investigated my requests and so forth, and Mr. Knight's rebuttal to me. It says, a legitimate inquiry is apparently something Mr. Knight is not willing to perform. That meant my inquiry. Instead, Mr. Knight is parroting the college's opinion that Attorney General Letter Advisory Number 156, 1978 no longer applied. The Attorney General Letter Advisory Number 156 considered whether a junior college district could hire someone related to the president of the college within a prohibited degree. Because of the Board of Trustees of a junior college was authorized to hire employees upon the president's recommendation, the letter advisory concluded the president and the board exercised joint control over hiring and that joint control was sufficient to make the nepotism statute applicable. Now, this is a person that actually called the Attorney General's office not long ago and inquired about that. Okay? And then rather than taking the college's word, a simple search of the Attorney General's website would have informed Mr. Knight that the letter advisory number 156, 1978 had not been overruled, modified, or withdrawn. A little more research and Mr. Knight would see the letter advisory has for decades been used as a precedent included in opinions for years 1986, 87, and 2006. So what can you do, folks? Okay? All I can tell you fine folks up there in B County that have paid taxes to the district up there, the college district, that you're being messed around, folks. And I know I have been. Okay? So what I've done is just this weekend I've had enough of Del Mar College. I've had enough of Coastal Bend College trying to smoke screen and cover things up like the Manhattan Alley Cat. And what I did was I went to the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas. Now this last week has been the Sunshine Open Records and so forth, Freedom of Information Act, Texas Public Information Act and so forth week, federal. And so I went ahead and I said, well, you know, I'm going to talk to their attorneys up there and find out what in the world can be done. Because all I do is every day, every night, every morning, noon and night, I get smoke blown at me from some of these blooming attorneys around here for these community colleges and then the Texas Board of Nursing and, you know, this taxpayers associated and supported entity and another one. But in here it says frequently asked questions when I went into the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas, and I did make a donation, folks. And I'm going to be asking some of their attorneys up there. They give me names and numbers so I can get some non-legal advice from the legal beagles, okay, whatever that means. But here's a frequently asked question. How can I get immediate assistance in an open government matter through the FOI Foundation? The Freedom of Information Foundation offers a free hotline, and they give me the number. By calling this number, you can reach an attorney who specializes in open government. The attorney can offer a generic opinion on the specifics of a situation, but the information is not to be considered as legal advice. You can also call this one, okay? So I'm calling that person on Monday, folks. I went ahead yesterday and sent the money up there, looked them up. I've heard a lot of good things about those people. Kelly Shannon is the executive director. I've seen his name frequently put out in the airways, and it talks about the Texas Public Information Act, when it was done and what the purpose was. It says covered entities, which Coastal Bend College and Del Mar College come under, types of information that the public is entitled to, everything except social security numbers and so forth and so on. And what a entity like Coastal Bend College or Del Mar College does, they've got these hotshot attorneys, and they just go ahead and request information or opinions from the Texas Attorney General's office in order to delay what we've got. Okay? And I'm tickled at that. How do you spell nepotism cartoon I showed you earlier? There's another copy of that. It's rich. Now, much to this dismay of the Coastal Bend College District, the Board of Trustees, 2 days from now, on March 24th, I finished classes at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I start at 8 and work straight through with a 30-minute break. I'm headed for Beeville to attend a 5:30 meeting of the Coastal Bend College Board of Trustees, and I've been filming those folks. I walk in with my camera. Now, one thing that happened at this last special call meeting about less than a week ago, I went up there and participated in that one also, since I was on spring break, and I was horrified that what happened was, in closed session, apparently and it was supposed to be a workshop. They had no public comment. I'm looking at the Texas Open Meetings Act to see if that was legal. I doubt that it is. But anyway, they went into closed session, and apparently they approved doing business at a workshop. It should have been a regular monthly meeting, open meeting, so that everybody could hear, but I understand they went ahead and approved a raise for the infamous Beatrice Espinosa. Okay. Now here's some numbers that were also passed around, and then I'll get back to Del Mar College in a minute. I've got to go do that. This is for you fine folks at Coastal Bend. Okay, 2,402. The number of marketable skills achievement awards, level 1 and 2 certificates, Associate of Applied Science and Associate of Arts or Sciences degrees awarded since 2012. $57,580. The average starting salary of graduates from our 2-year allied health programs, radiologic technology, nursing, and dental hygiene. Our other workforce program graduates make an average of $36,000 their first year after graduation. So I guess that means go into nursing. Now, if you don't have the proper director of nursing up there and so forth, and the Board of Nursing comes down on you, and so does the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, SACS, then you're going to be in deep trouble up there, CBC. Now, here's another thing. There, it says $1,445,733. The total tuition waived for dual credit students at 38 local high schools. This helps make college more affordable for students and their families. Okay? All right? And then I won't get into what I think of these dual credit courses. Okay? $1,740,744, the amount in the college's cash reserves after negative balances over $2 million and $866,673 in 2012 and in 2013 respectively. And then it's got a picture of Dr. Beatrice T. Espinosa down here talking to two students, and it's all this hoopla about how great this school is, celebrating 50 years of educating South Texas. Okay, that's a pretty slick looking thing there. I wonder how much they spent on that thing. Then I won't get into, for time's sake, all of the extra outside businesses that Dr. Espinosa and her sister, Miss Julia Garcia, are involved with up in San Antonio, Texas. And it's strange to think that the Dean of Workforce is settled in at the Pleasanton campus up there, and she lives in San Antonio. I wonder if that's a conflict. Okay? So all you people up there at the taxpayers of Coastal Bend College, email me. It's gsansing@gmail.com. I've been getting some real interesting emails coming in here, so keep up the good work for me. Now I want to talk a minute about the Texas Public Information Act. I've said that I'm having a heck of a time down here with Del Mar College doing this. Here's an editorial that came out 2 or 3 days ago. It says information from Texas isn't just for Texans, and there's a significant paragraph in here. This is from the Caller Times, Corpus Christi Caller Times. As for the expense of filing out-of-state request, it's a non-issue. The law allows the keeper of the information to recover the expense of filling requests within reason. Okay? The keepers of information aren't supposed to inflate expense estimates as a scare tactic. Supposed to do the work for free. Now this brings up my friend and co-investigator, I'll say, okay, Mr. Ed Bennett. Now he's got a master's in accounting, got a bachelor's degree in accounting, been a CPA for many years, worked for some of the top firms in the country. He knows what he sees, and he knows how to interpret all this funny money accounting, and it's called Accounting Irregularities at Del Mar College. He read the report from Coastal Bend College too and was horrified by what those auditors said up there, and he was just shaking his head saying, how do these people get away with this? Okay, but that was out of the Caller Times, folks. Now this last week has been the sunshine, or whatever they call it, where people are supposed to be able to figure out what's happening under Public Information Act. Now Mr. Bennett asked for some information about some accounting records that he and I had uncovered. I asked for it in August of 2013 and got the runaround, and then when he pursued that, the college wanted to bill him $26.7 million, and it's going to take 20 years to get the information to him out of just general ledger. Well, if anybody at Del Mar College at the time had known anything about accounting, and we do not have a CPA, we do not have an internal auditor, we're bumping along, writing off $2,838,000 from 2007, and they can't substantiate all where that money came from. $54,000 from Kingsville, Texas A&M Kingsville, $42,000 from the U.S. Navy, and you know, the list goes on. And look, almost $3 million, folks. That's a hell of a lot of taxpayers' money. Okay, it's just being urinated away. I'm trying to be polite. Okay, but that's what it is. And now the city is the same way. If you go into the city and ask for information, you're going to get the runaround of your life. Now, I'm going to talk about one of those runarounds from the city attorney with Mr. Jack Gordy, who asked for information about the Americans with Disability Act, information about why we have palm trees right in the middle of sidewalks in public way, and they're blocking any wheelchair access and anybody that's got a disability. Now, what happened was apparently the city had provided $400,000 to certain developers around here to build some housing for veterans, okay? And so that has been a source of contention lately. And what happened was nothing got built on time. So the city filed suit, and then now they say that they have out of court settled with the developers on that, and that the taxpayers, that's your $400,000, folks, are not privy and cannot get information about who, what, when, and why. Okay? So it says city stance on settlement doubted. This was by Kristen Crow of the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. Staff has refused to disclose details. That was under Public Information Act request by the Caller-Times. And then on the 21st, that was on the 9th, oh no, that's the 20th of March 21st, settlement info is in the AG's hands. So what these slick attorneys have done one more time is spend a whole bunch more of your tax money asking for an opinion from the Attorney General's office. Okay? Now that costs money, folks. So if you don't want to give somebody information and you've screwed up, you just get some slick attorney to go and file an opinion or for an opinion from the AG's office. And then they can delay the inevitable up to 45 days. And Delmar's famous for that. Okay? Then on the 22nd it says how to turn confidentiality into a bad word. This was an editorial by the Caller-Times. And it says that apparently they're pretty perturbed with this also. It says confidentiality means there's something to hide, not always something embarrassing. Sometimes philanthropists want to remain anonymous, but this isn't a philanthropic matter. It's $400,000 in squandered public money. Without knowing yet what's in the agreement, someone ought to be embarrassed and owes taxpayers an explanation. No confidentiality agreement should stand in the way of fulfilling this obligation to the public. Until the Attorney General rules, the public has the meantime to indulge human nature and imagine the worst. If the secrets in the agreement were good news, would they have been kept secret? Then I told you that in the Star Telegram this last week, the paper from the Fort Worth area, then what we have is they have got keeping sunshine on public information is an ongoing fight. They quoted this deal with Mr. Bennett and myself with the $26.7 million request, said it was ludicrous and so forth and so on. And then I've got about 12 minutes to get into some other stuff that I need to talk about, because at the end of this I've got about 9 minutes of fluff that I went over and filmed at Delmar College. Okay, it's make your hair curl, I hope. Okay, but what Mr. Bennett did, and I'll ease into this one. Okay, and then the college came back and said that they got an award for outstanding achievement in popular financial reporting, which is horse feathers, if you know what I'm talking about. This company, the Government Finance Officers Association, is paid dues. You can get any certificate you want, naming you the successor to Bozo, the clown, or whatever you want to do. All you have to do is grease their palm with a little bit of silver, and they'll write you any kind of award you want. So since those are posted over there in the executive offices and in the Heldenfels building of Delmar College, folks, you're being duped. That's all I can tell you. That's a bunch of nonsense. Okay, now, Mr. Bennett, what happened to me was, without consultation with me, I've taught all of the microbiology classes, both the pre-allied health and the majors classes at Delmar College for 25 years. I think I know what I'm doing, but I got a course stuck in through another professor, and I was not consulted about that. That's the professor that's got the golly gee whiz crap going on, which you'll see at the end of this show. And then I asked for, since I was not consulted about that, and I had, through Mr. Bennett, he actually asked for any and all documents and so forth associated with the justification and establishment of an out-of-sequence biology course in the spring semester. This semester, documents associated with the cost of equipment and supplies that have been or will be purchased, because that person that teaches that doesn't make their own solutions and stuff up. They've hired a teaching assistant to teach his labs apparently, and to prepare everything for him. Now, I prepare everything, folks. I save that college an estimated $120,000 a year doing my own labs and teaching my own stuff and making my own solutions and growth media. But that's a thing of the past, okay? Then we also, it says any and all documents indicating the total student enrollment and any existing documentation that all students had completed the suggested course prerequisites. Now, I have been in charge of micro for 25 years, essentially, and I do have certain prerequisites. If you don't have in a majors micro class a basic chemistry background and a basic cell molecular biology class, then you have no business trying to understand what I teach in a majors microbiology class at the sophomore level. Okay? But I understand, and I'm going to find out through this, that the prerequisites were dropped, and that person that teaches it didn't think they were important. Okay? Any and all documents related to the hiring of teaching assistant for preparing and conducting the laboratory component of that class, and the costs of that hiring for the semester. Now, Mr. Bennett turned this in on February the 15th. Should have got something by the end of February. And then on March the 2nd, at the very last minute, let's see, in response to your PIA request, the college will need additional time to assemble responsive documents, and therefore they'll have it ready no later than Friday, March the 13th. Now that's in violation of the Open Records Act, folks, since they did not ask the Attorney General for an opinion. It should have been provided, and now there's another one that says it's going to be March the 25th. We just can't get it all done. Okay, we're inefficient. So that's what's going on over there. Okay, so I did join the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas. Okay, now I've called for a faculty meeting. Okay, to find out what in the world's going on over there with that chair of mine, and so forth and so on. Now, I was asked, and let me just back up. Now, we have this one that is teaching that micro class now. I refer to him as being the anointed one, or the privileged one. And I was asked if I would relinquish some key equipment that I use for my classes, okay, and let that man use that equipment. Okay. Now, I've asked over the months and months and months and years to use equipment that's bought on some of these, quote, grants, and then some that was bought by the college that's under the control of the anointed one. Okay? And I've been refused that. So I just say, okay, if that's the way we're going to be, then since he's privileged, then let him go with it, folks. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Now, for years, my department chair, for 2 years now, has been raising unmitigated hell that professor would not answer his emails, and especially in the summer when he's gone out playing jolly gee whiz, stuff at other places. Then and then all of a sudden the dean, who covers this anointed one very, very well, unfortunately for the rest of us poor peons, us idiots that can't teach a class because we do it traditionally, we're not up to par with the elite, then he's been raising Cain about that. Then all of a sudden, after not conversing with me and not consulting me with that out of sequence micro class, which is going to ruin my proposed and scheduled microbiology class for majors this fall, and I think there's been a request for this privileged one to teach that class again, then neither one of them are going to make unless I take 5 students into a class of 24 and just blow off the prerequisites and then go out with all these posters that say we're going to look at fungi from an Apollo 11 mission or some damn thing like that. I guess they're going to check the boots out on the astronauts to see if they had a special grown, athlete's foot or something on one of those missions. And they call that research. Okay. I said on the last show, go on to YouTube and look up the February 15th show, folks. My whole background pre-Del Mar College was straight research. I know how to spell it. And then some people at Del Mar College couldn't spell it if they had to. Okay? Have any idea what it's all about. And I'll leave it at that. But the man, the anointed one, has not been answering his emails. And if he wants something, he just goes straight to the dean, and then she calls and whips down on the department chair, and I don't think he's got the backbone to go over and challenge her. Okay. Then I was on the physics program review committee. 3 of the 5 members were seriously ill. I was just a casual participant in that, and then it didn't get done in time. That's a big surprise to me. Okay, and then the department chair requested the use of my bioreactor. It's called a fermenter. I don't know where the hell bioreactor comes from. Okay, that's in my micro storeroom to be moved to Dr. Anointed One's use for the spring 2015. Okay, and I told them both. I said, go straight to hell. I'm not going to do that. I demonstrate that to my students. We don't have a sterilization unit big enough to actually go with it, and there's no sense in running that thing. I didn't want it in the very beginning to begin with, but I do demonstrate it, and couldn't kill off all the cells, whether they be tissue culture or bacteria, if I did grow them up. We don't have the facilities for it. Okay, so here's what I've got. Here's he wants to recommend disciplinary action as specified below. Okay, you have failed, refused to communicate with me except via email and handwritten means. I told the man, this is my department chair, that I did not want to talk to him. I'm tired of listening to his railing and so forth about the anointed one, and just don't talk to me. You can communicate me by email or written means, typed written means, or if you have to talk to me directly, it'll be in front of a witness. Okay, I want a witness in there with me. And then he says, during the course of the program review, have you refused to communicate with me at all times? Now, that's horse manure, folks, because I have told him verbally what the department or the head man from physics said, and I won't repeat it. Okay, but it was not complimentary to getting this thing done in a timely manner, and now I'm being chastised for that. And then, yes, I did. I told my department chair and the anointed one to go straight to hell. I was going to demonstrate my fermenter in class, and since I can't use mass spec, GC over there, can't use confocal, can't use inverted scopes, can't use the scanning electron microscope and a bunch of stuff out of that area, then no, you're not going to get that from me without a fight. Okay? Now, I filed a grievance against my department chair for doing this. I've also got a hearing coming up to discuss this, but I asked for certain information under Public Information Act to provide me with the evidence I need to dispute his charges and so forth. And then our esteemed attorney, one of the real high-priced ones for Del Mar, said that since that was a legal proceeding, a quasi-judicial forum, that I'm not entitled to get the information I need to defend myself. Okay? So, what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think that's fair? Okay? The esteemed HR department, Human Resources over there, has also refused to hear my grievance against my department chair. Okay? And that's the same group that said that a faculty member that made anti-Semitic statements, like we call our chamber over here, our music chamber, the gas chamber, then that was meant to be humorous. Therefore, nobody's going to go and face him. And I tell you right now, folks, as a Jew boy, that did not make me very happy. Okay? So I've got about a minute left, and I'm going to go ahead and play some of that razzle-dazzle golly gee whiz for the remainder of this show. And then, I'll go ahead and let it run out. So as soon as this beeper goes off, I'm going to go and turn that camera off and let you see what's coming up with what you're spending your money with when us traditional professors aren't worth a tinker's damn when it comes to educating students. So I don't know what to tell you. The whole thing's just such a sham over there, folks. And I'm watching some of those departments over there, and some of those things go straight to hell in a handbasket. And it's appalling. And then we're going to go fire people because students can't seem to get together and want to study, and they think that professors are just mean and ugly. So I'm going to shut it off right now, and I will see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm filming the bulletin boards in the foyer here at the Garcia Science Building in Del Mar College, Corpus Christi, Texas. And here's a big hoopla about how great things are to instill research into freshman, sophomore classes. I've got a real hang-up with that, being in the research business most of my life. But anyway, just wanted to let you see what we've got spread all over this building. These are the two main bulletin boards, glass thin cases for information, and this is one of them on this side. I'm just going to swing the camera around so you can see the foyer here. I know that's probably a little jumpy, but on the other side here we've got another one chock full of the assessment skills, the ATE Success Grant. Okay, so I don't think you can recognize anybody that's in these photographs up here from what we've got, but there is a survey there of students that were participated in some of these internships, which I think is a good deal, but you can't base the entire course on quote unquote research. You've got to go through the basics, and I've just found in my experience with some of this that the basics have gone lacking, let's say, when we get into one of the upper courses. So I don't appreciate this type of thing, and then to be told that I'm a substandard professor because I teach traditional classes. That just cut the line there, folks. Okay, that was just one step over the line, too far. Anyway, I'm going to go take another haul down here with all the golly gee whiz stuff on it, and I'll be right back. A further display of all the awards and so forth that students have procured. I think that that's probably a good thing, but not at the price of basic research versus basic academic knowledge of things. So when I'm told that students don't need to know the basics, that they just need to know how to conduct a research project, then that's when I go just a little bit, I think that's a little bit far. They need to know the basics, because when we ship them out of here somewhere else, then it's going to show. And then a lot of these students hang around here for more years than they need to be doing. So I've got to hang up with this. But there's a window, lab window. All the windows are blocked up in this particular laboratory. And then I'll go ahead and show you the front door over here. The glass over there is all messed up, so if something happens in there, a student faints or whatever, then you really can't see in to figure out what's going on. And I'm not sure what the motivation is for that. This is a shot of a 4x8 quote unquote poster that was done by a student as the quote research, and then these things are taken to different meetings around the countryside. This was an NSF meeting, it looked like, in North Texas somewhere. And they put these big, nice posters on a pedestal or a tripod, and then they talk about those. And again, I'm not so sure that this is a straight research program. This was the Howard Hughes Medical Institute money, and they support a lot of the golly gee whiz stuff. But I think that's fine for sophomores, juniors, but I've got a real hang up at the undergraduate, at the freshman, sophomore level. Go up and down the line here. This whole hall back here where the biotech program is, and so forth and so on, is inundated with all of these posters. And I'll show you several more, and then I'll go down to another glass window in the one of the laboratories, the biotech lab, and it's all plastered with stuff too. But it's all over the place, folks. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay, one more time. This is another one. This is a USDA grant, it looks like. And I don't know where this is presented. I'm not going to spend the time to find out what this was all about. But there's another example of a student on an internship, I guess, that produced this one. And we'll just see what happens when we get through with this. So let me go down the line for you. One more time. Looks like this one was the Center for Biology or for Sciences and Engineering Education at Berkeley Labs out in California. It's a good experience for students, I will admit, but you need to know the basics before you get into sending these students out there for internships. Well, like I say, I'm not going to comment any further, but I'm going to show you another glass window in a laboratory that's plastered with all of this stuff. There you go. Again, you can't see into the laboratory except through a little maybe 5-inch by 10-inch section of the blinds in there, and you can't see through the blinds because they've got those shut down. Now, I guess according to the fire department and fire codes, this is not illegal, but I think when you got a lab like that and you've got students in a lab, especially freshmen, sophomores, you need to have somebody be able to look into the room and see what in the world's going on. Anyway, I've got one more poster and some other garbage for you. Just a minute. There we go. Like I say, the hall is inundated with this stuff. This is another one that doesn't say exactly where it's from. I guess it must be Department of Energy or something. But there's another poster with all the fancy pictures and stuff on it. And when I started out presenting research stuff, and I know that was all the way into graduate school, but we had to go in front of international crowds and present the slideshow and the paper, and then we were open to questions and so forth. It wasn't one of these poster sessions, they call them now. This is a window in a classroom the way it should be, not all plastered up, so you can see what's going on inside of the classroom, and or in particularly more important in the laboratories. But I guess they haven't decided to gunk this one up with a bunch of trophies and so forth. But this is the way it should be. Another poster one more time. This one's USDA NSF, and I guess, I don't know, it's something about the Institutes of Health. Maybe it's National Institutes of Health. And another one that is here, and this one is from Lord knows where. It does have Del Mar College on it, but this was one of the interns somewhere. I think it was Natural Toxins Research Center down in Texas A&M, Kingsville. But this is what they are learning rather than basics. Another one of the glass cases. As I say, they're inundated with all the golly gee whiz stuff, and then just next to it, there's some panels that came out of that. They're duplicates of what they had stuck out in the major hallway there in the foyer. So this just gives you some idea of what we've got to contend with. And I think what really is my big problem with this is we have some of the finest biology professors in the country that teach here, and we are all told as traditional types that we're substandard and we're mediocre, and that our students in a traditional setting can't learn near as much as one of these quote research-based laboratory classes. and that's assuming that you've got somebody teaching the lab that knows research, and there's some controversy about that, which I'll discuss after I get through with this. You know, who's teaching the labs in these golly gee whiz classes? I guess that's my question. So I'll be right back with you. I'm going to splice this into another edition of the South Texas News and Reviews. This is Gerald Sansing signing off for this portion at Del Mar College.